14 songs to rank. What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 9 of the album song ranking review series. This time is featuring the brand new Code Orange album entitled The Above. This just came out on September 29th. It is a 52-minute long album. So pretty long, 14 songs, a ton to unpack here. In album number 5, Code Orange looked to shift their sound from their previous album, Underneath, The Above. See the difference? The band self-produced this one, and I am really excited to dive into this. This was an incredibly difficult album to rank the songs on, but I rose to the challenge. Let's dive into it. Coming in at number 14 is I Fly, and you know what? I am being selfless for you people because I love this song. It's actually one of my favorites, but I am trying to be as objective as possible so you can have the best song ranking possible. So, yes, I Fly does fall at the bottom, but it is really enjoyable. I like it because it is upbeat. The band has described it as an industrial song / Alice in Chains influence type thing, and that's a pretty hard thing to pull off, yet the band totally does. You can hear the Alice in Chains influence the most in the chorus. It is a huge one. It's very big. It's catchy, and the hooks are very strong. In the verse, it's just a ton of industrial influence. Tribal drums, very, very heavy percussion in the mix. Reba and Jamie are alternating vocals, and it sounds really cool to hear them kind of going back and forth. Now, the lyrics apparently come from what Jamie read from in certain epitaphs. Epitaphs are, what people write before they pass away for their family members. And he also mentioned there's a type of humor to it. And I can hear some humor in the delivery, but I'm a glass half full type guy, and I like the whole idea of flying and transcending after death, so you can interpret this song in multiple ways. If I hadn't read that little tidbit from Jamie, I wouldn't have picked up on some of the slightly sarcastic tones. But regardless, there is an overtly upbeat tempo and vibe to this song that makes it unique among the Above's track listing. We even get a really solid breakdown in this one with a psychedelic guitar solo. So it has plenty to offer here. I Fly is going to go down as the biggest sleeper pick of the Above. I think it would be killer live, and it's awesome to hear Code Orange deliver these really big, soaring melodic choruses like in this one. So this is a bit sacrilegious, this is blasphemy, but I have the album title track, The Above, ranked at number 13 overall. It's pretty low over here. Now, that is not to say that this is not a great song in the context of The Above. It is the last song on the album. It ties all the themes together. It takes everything that was discussed lyrically and then transcends into the next thing. This song sounds like a gateway between where Code Orange is now and where they're going to go, and for that, it is really beautiful. Now, musically, the song for the first couple minutes is very quiet. Jamie is practically whispering his vocals, and so you're waiting, and you can start feeling the build. You know something is going to happen, and it is very climactic. It does not miss on that drop. And it's a beautiful thing. It's one of the most dramatic parts of the entire album. If you're listening to music and this song came on shuffle, you probably wouldn't understand it because it's out of context. Within the context of this album, The Above is a phenomenal song. As a standalone random track to seek out, maybe not so much. Ultimately, this song is about being able to live with who you are, being comfortable in your own skin, and not worrying about the tangible things in life, the car you have, the house you have, whatever. I recommend you stick with this song through the intro that is, like I said, very quiet. It's actually half of the song that's very quiet. And once this really cool, quiet bass riff comes in, there's some choir vocals, and Jamie sings Into the Above, and boom, you're hit with this drop. It's one of the most chilling moments of the album. Again, The Above is the perfect album closer, perfect title track. It just doesn't stand up to the next 12 songs in terms of an individual song, but it is perfect for the album. Ranked at number 12 is The Game, and this was technically released as a B-side to the single Grooming My Replacement, and this is a heavy tune. It's probably the second heaviest song on the album, and it's a blast. It's very enjoyable, a bit one-dimensional, but not necessarily in a bad way. It's a straight-up metal song. Jamie described the pinch harmonics as being kind of like the needle going up and down in a lie detector test, so paints this really cool image. He refers to the antagonist of this song as the manipulator, and they are trying to lead you down a path of least resistance. So it's a game of back and forth. The tone of this song is very frustrated. It feels like very confrontational. And what I like is there are also the same sound effects that you hear previously in the album, like duct tape, blades, or like teeth crackling, like things like that. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Heavier doesn't always mean better. It really is a great metal song, but there isn't too much uncharted territory that we haven't heard from Code Orange. It would fit in great in a metal playlist, but it wasn't particularly memorable for me. It didn't stay with me as much as the next 11 songs in this ranking. Number 11 is But a Dream, and this is a bit of a challenging listen, so I didn't necessarily get it right away. But it starts with a low rumbling bass line with some clean guitars. The song itself is about free will. Do we have it? Are we being controlled by our fate or things in our subconscious? Think Truman Show type lyrical themes. Amy has said in interviews that this song makes him think of two doors with like blinding light. One of them is being accepted by others, and the other is whatever path is best for you. So he's so creative when he comes up with these themes, and the chorus is as simple as, is free will but a dream? Is it even possible to have free will? I really hope that yes, we do have free will, but it makes you think. The song's slightly psychedelic or thought-provoking lyrics are complemented by the musicianship, and one of my favorite parts of this whole album are actually in the verses of But a Dream, where you have a great vocal melody complemented by a guitar riff that is being played with a wah-wah pedal. It's so cool. It adds this like groove to it. Really cool aspect of the song, and it expands it. It makes you think. It kind of gets you out of that density that you feel in a lot of Code Orange songs. This song expands and makes you think a little more openly than opposed to a lot of these songs where I feel like you feel kind of trapped in your mind or like claustrophobic. This helps you look outward in a way. But a Dream might be a slightly challenging listen, but there's no doubt that the chorus has a great hook. Reba and Jamie sound awesome together, and there's a certain level of urgency in this song that you might not hear towards the end of an album. This is the second to last song on the album. Ranked 10th of 14 songs is Circle Through. Again, one of my favorite songs, but it's so low on the list. But this is a fun one. The band has described this as the most pop-oriented song they've ever made, and look, it does not sound poppy at all to me, but by Code Orange's standards, sure, it's poppy. The lyrics in Circle Through match the overall upbeat vibe, and they're asking questions about life. Like, are you where you want to be? Like, do you have to feel this way? I really like that because you can ask those questions in a negative light and be like, well, this all stinks. Like, are you where? And like beat yourself up. Instead, this is more of a dust yourself off, get back up type vibe, and I really enjoy that type of energy. The guitars are big and loud, much more rock and roll than metal. Gives me this nostalgic vibe, but I can't really name one specific influence, unlike some of the other songs on the album. Circle Through is fun. It's in your face. It's a shift in tone from a lot of the other songs and the above. The whole song isn't fun and games. There is a quiet bridge section that Reba sings in that ties you back into the overall themes of the above. But it is great to hear an upbeat song that is still addressing very serious mental, emotional, spiritual topics. Circle Through would be a great single for this album. It showcases the band's diversity. They can play any style of music they want, and it's never been more prevalent in this upbeat, happy sounding tune. Splinter the Soul's ranked at 9, and this song deals with very, very serious topics about taking control of one's life or potentially ending it. So very, very serious stuff here. Now, the sound, the band is described as Nine Inch Nails meets Alice in Chains again, but also with hints of Pantera. You don't really hear the Pantera influence in the first 2.5 minutes or so. At first, you get right into that industrial style that Code Orange just masters. They are so in their element when you hear that, and now they're incorporating these really large choruses, which I feel like have been missing a little bit in their previous albums, or at least for me. These 90s styled soaring vocal melodies, they fit so well in the Code Orange sound that it's a very pleasant evolution for this band. Getting back to that industrial sound that Code Orange is so great at, what makes Splinter the Soul a little different is the fact that it's a little less abstract. So a lot of Code Orange stuff has like crazy sound effects like I've mentioned before, but in this song it's very focused. The programming, the electronics are really focused around the percussion and the beats, which make it sound a little more Nine Inch Nails than traditional Code Orange. But wait, where's the Pantera influence? That you have to wait until about the 2.5 minute mark, and then we're treated to two delightful Pantera-styled riffs. The first one is a slow, sprawling, groovy riff. It reminds me a bit of A New Level, and then after that you kick into a faster, once again, very much Pantera-styled riff. This song is unpredictable between the industrial influences and the Pantera groove metal influences. It's all held together by these fantastic choruses. That's the most consistent part of the whole song. And even though this one deals with some very serious topics, it is very entertaining to listen to and one of the most creative songs on the album. I've got Snapshot ranked 8th overall, and I feel like I might get attacked for this one because I know a lot of fans are loving this song. It's a weird one. It's a mix of upbeat and very, very dark. The opening lyrics are quoting the movie 1 Hour Photo with Robin Williams, and its themes deal with stalking or an antagonist coming after someone. Ultimately, the protagonist gets to reverse and capture their antagonist, so it becomes the predator becomes the prey type scenario. So that part's pretty cool. The band has described this as a heavy indie type song, and look, I guess it's there. I don't understand how the chorus necessarily fits with the themes of the verses and bridge section, but that just might be me. The chorus itself is incredible. It has actually one of the strongest hooks on the album. It's a fun listen, a bit more of an abstract place than a lot of these songs make you look inward or reflect. This is more of a fun, thrilling type of song. Special shout out to vocalist and guitarist Reba Myers. She really shines in the bridge section of this song vocally. Her voice has gotten better and better. I'll be honest, I'm not really crazy about her vocals in the past. In this album, she sounds better than ever. At 7, The Mask of Sanity Slips. That is a candidate for one of the best song titles of the year. This song starts with a sludgy guitar riff, kind of 90s grungy, followed by an even more grunge-like verse where things quiet down. Jamie's kind of singing lower. There's a beautiful, clean guitar riff. It is creepy, it leaves you a little on edge, and it's also very contemplative. Apparently these lyrics are very personal to Jamie. Not to say that the other ones aren't, but he has said in interviews that he came up with that term, the mask of sanity, about himself, that he wears one, and when it slips, you know, he kind of feels crazy. So a lot of this song deals with self-loathing, self-doubt, feeling bad about yourself, or feeling like you're putting on a mask. Dark themes we're talking about, and the musicality is matching it perfectly. The verses sound like the narrator or protagonist is singing from the first person, and then the choruses sound like the situation being described overall. So this person is talking about themselves, describing what's going on, and then it's almost like a narrator comes in and says like the situation, which is the mask of sanity slips. Right? So really cool dynamic. It's very rare that you hear electronic elements in a grunge pop-y song. But Code Orange pulls this off really well. They even throw in a breakdown for good measure. Now we have a breakdown in a grunge-like song. Let's talk about this breakdown, though. Who does it sound like? This breakdown sounds a lot like the breakdown in Korn's classic song, Clown. Listen to them. They are very similar. I don't mean this in a bad way. It's a great tribute. When I first heard it, I was like, you can recognize it immediately if you're a fan of Korn or nu metal in general. Great touch and really cool to hear Code Orange taking chances and defying genres, not for the sake of genre blendings, but for the sake of making a really great song. Keep in mind, The Mask of Sanity Slips is actually the longest song on the album. It's only 5 minutes and change, but you feel like the song is finished right around the 4-minute mark. Things quiet down, you kind of expect a piano outro, but instead there are these quiet pianos and all of a sudden, boom, the band explodes into this awesome jam. Very unlike anything I've ever heard Code Orange do before. The band repeats these lines, "I am not living, I am asleep." It ties into the overall themes of consciousness, being awake in your own life so well, and it's such a great touch. The song could have ended and it would have been just fine, but with that extended outro, I think The Mask of Sanity Slips is one of the most fully fledged songs on the album. Number 6, Take Shape, featuring Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins. The first time I saw this song released as a single, I was like, what on earth is Billy doing on a Code Orange song? This band is way too heavy for him. I was wrong. He fits in really well in this song. It's a brief cameo. The band says his part kind of plays narrator of what's going on, but Take Shape itself is a really fun song. It has an upbeat electronic stomp to it. Take Shape feels more industrial rock than industrial metal. It's not one of the heaviest songs. However, this chorus is massive. You want to talk about melody and oh my gosh. Take Shape is addicting and gets stuck in your head. It's so well written that not even Billy can distract you from how good this chorus is. Lyrically, we're talking about free will in this song. So taking shape, what does that mean? Does it mean taking control of your life? Does it mean not just going through the motions? Does it mean stopping and looking around and asking yourself what you want and what you want to do in this life? This ties right into But a Dream with the themes of fate. Again, think Truman Show. I only have one small nitpicky issue with this song, and I actually don't like Reba's vocal contribution in the chorus. She has this one line that there's kind of a vocal effect on it, and I feel like it's slightly distracting from the hook. I'm being very nitpicky here. There's nothing wrong with it by any means, but it's probably the only time that I haven't liked Reba singing in a song on the above. In this episode of Code Orange Writes a Ballad, we have Mirror coming in at number 5. Yes, Code Orange wrote a ballad. It is their self-proclaimed softest song they've recorded, and it is an absolute beauty. Reba takes lead vocals on this song, and it is an album standout. Mirror is laced with a lot of electronic elements, but specifically in the trip-hop realm. And when you combine that with Code Orange's darkness, what you'll get is a very strange, haunting, but also beautiful and kind of glorious track. I've never quite heard a ballad like Mirror. It's one of the most unique songs on this album. As much as Reba is the highlight in the song, instrumentally, there's just so many awesome things going on. You've got a great string section. You have some keys in it. You have acoustic guitars. Not really hearing that much in a Code Orange song. And trip hop beats, and they all come together in such a cohesive way. These things don't usually mix, but they mix together so well in this song. And getting back to the chorus, that is one of the best choruses I have heard in so long. No doubt Mirror surprised a lot of fans when it was released as a single, but I think it was a great choice. I'm curious to see if Code Orange plays this song live. I think it would be hard to pull off, but if anyone can, it would be them. And unlike a lot of ballads in a live set where it's usually people's like drink refill or bathroom break, this song is so engaging and so beautiful that I think it would be foolish to not play it live. As things draw to a close, Reba starts singing Sensation repeatedly as things slow down, and it is one of the most hypnotic parts of the album. What an awesome song that no one expected this band to write. At number 4, a drone opting out of the hive. This is one of the craziest metal songs I have heard in 2023 and beyond that. You hear Code Orange operating at peak creativity levels. And the first verse of this song happens, you have no idea what's going on. The band has actually said the beat is made of teeth chattering and whispers. It is jarring. There's no real beat to nod your head to. Yeah, there's a little bit of percussion, but it is off tempo and a weird time signature. And you kind of freeze. You freeze and you listen to all these different sounds happening. You hear Jamie whispering these vocals, and it's madness in a like serial killer, like quiet type way. It doesn't hit you over the head in the verse. It's madness, but it isn't like heavy guitar madness. It's more jarring than that. And all of this overstimulation leads you to the most massive Code Orange chorus I have ever heard. Jamie starts growling, "I am the drone," and the guitars are ugly but very, very rhythmic, very methodical and repetitive. And what I find so interesting is the verses make no sense. They're so all over the place. There's not a hook to really cling on to, and it's the choruses that are the most steadfast. They're steady, yet heavy as hell. What a cool juxtaposition this song has between madness and a different type of controlled chaos. We, the listeners, finally get a beat of boom, 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 to headbang to. It's so pleasing. You never want the chorus to end. When it does, it goes right back into those verses where even after listening to the first verse, you don't know what's going to happen in the second verse. There are great moments before the breakdown where you hear tick, 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 and then boom, the groove metal riff that carries you through. And Jamie starts spitting these lyrics that are absolutely out of control. He talks about being the main character, the narrator, the protagonist. He even references their hit, Swallowing the Rabbit Whole, by saying, "I am the rabbit swallowed whole." So he is just out of control, spitting out some of the best lyrics of the album. Code Orange is a band that can be really out there sometimes, and in my opinion, they can be hit or miss when they dive into that territory. A drone opting out of the hive is a slam dunk. It is a creative achievement. It is out of this world. You cannot name another song that sounds like this one. What a standout track for the band. We have entered the top 3, and we'll start with Never Far Apart. This is my favorite song on the album. It is the perfect album opener. It has the juxtaposition that the band was looking for between really light, positive moments that kind of sound creepy, mixed with the darkness, the introspective, the quiet, the heavy parts. Never Far Apart embodies all of that. What better way to start an album than with the sound of duct tape? Yikes. That is followed by slow drum beats that start picking up their pace. Keyboards start coming in. First verse starts with Jamie singing very subtly, quietly, and it seems very introspective. And the song is setting you up for a moody, dark, brooding album intro. The chorus comes in, and Jamie has described it as sounding like a Disney movie, and it totally does. Reba starts this haunting vocal performance, and it is super catchy. She sings that we will never be far apart. It's beautiful. It's beautiful and it's disturbing. It's a chorus that'll get stuck in your head. Automatically, you know you're not in for the type of song you thought you were going to hear 30 to 40 seconds in. It's a complete tone shift. There's a lot to unpack with the juxtaposition of the two moods of the song, but one specific part I want to mention is the fact that Jamie's verses are quiet. His vocals kind of roll with the instruments really well. He's saying these words and it's going right with the beat, right with the tones and the melody. And then in Reba's part, the more dreamy chorus, her voice just stands above everything. It's not matching a specific melody exactly. Her vocals are soaring above the mix. It's an incredible thing to pull off, and the band pulls it off easily. So we've addressed the first half of the song. After the second chorus, we start to hear some guitars come in, and you hear Jamie kind of whispering, "Do it, do it on repeat, and you think there's going to be some massive drop. You're feeling it. The band has been restrained, and now they're going to explode. Nope. We go right back into one more chorus by Reba, and it almost feels like you get punched in the gut because you're waiting for something big, and then you're right back to that dreamy state. But fret not, because after that chorus is when we have an awesome outro, pummeling guitars. Jamie is growling. He's finally letting it all out, dropping some very memorable lines along the way. Shout out to one of my favorite lines in the song, "I'd push you out the window for a better view." Never Far Apart is almost the perfect representation of the above. It is my personal favorite Code Orange song. I desperately wanted to rank this one number 1, but 2 songs beat it out. Ranked at number 2 is Grooming My Replacement. This was the first single of the album. It was our first taste of the above. It came out in June, so we've had a good amount of time to listen to this one, and it has aged extremely well. This is an example of Code Orange at their absolute best, while still incorporating new elements to their sound. This was such a great choice for a first single because it is so different than the Underneath. It's much more guitar forward. The electronic elements have taken a step back, but are still very prevalent in the song. Now, it is one of the heavier tracks on the album, so unlike Take Shape, which was more of a hard rock industrial type song, Grooming My Replacement is much more in the realm of metal. What also makes it feel and sound so different from Underneath is the loose elements to it. And what I mean by that is the guitars are not overproduced. I think that there was a lot of production in Underneath, and that was part of the overall vibe. The electronics were in the front, so the guitars were very polished. You hear a very live sound to these guitars. They're a little messy, but they're much more in your face, and I think they sound great. It adds a new raw edge to their sound while maintaining electronic elements. Here's something I haven't said about any song in this album: the swagger in Grooming My Replacement. There's so much attitude when you get to that and Jamie sings, "I'm grooming my replacement." It is so in your face. I love that everything just quiets down other than Jamie and the drum beat, and it is badass sounding. And it's such a simple dynamic shift, yet it is so effective and actually really not done often by many bands. Lyrically, it's pretty obvious. It's about someone who feels like they're being trained to train their replacement, right? So it's this feeling of helplessness, kind of being stuck, underappreciated, and not valued for who you are, where you are in the moment. As much as there's great attitude to this song, there's also a lot of tension. This is a dangerous sounding song. Call me crazy, but are there some blast beats in the breakdown of this song? I think there are. Almost like all the tension in this song is released in that breakdown, and blast beats, damn. Grooming My Replacement is filled with awesome guitar riffs, and it gets heavier and heavier as you listen to it. Number 1 of all 14 songs of this album is Theater of Cruelty. Another awesome song title. This is a weird choice, I know. I'm very curious to see how people react to this one, but in my opinion, Theater of Cruelty represents the above so well, and everything the band sought to achieve with the above is embodied in Theater of Cruelty. The artistic vision the band had for this album is a knockout. It was a great decision, and Theater of Cruelty has those similar juxtapositions as Never Far Apart. The difference is they're more representative of the album. They're less outlandish and dreamy, and instead heavier. The song starts ominously, and then you get this epic growl from Jamie, and the verses remind me of this dreamy kind of Deftones vibe. Now listen closely to how free and loose these guitars are. The production quality is great in this album, but like I mentioned before, the guitars are not overproduced. They sound awesome. They sound so much more in your face when they're less polished like that, and it reminds me of like 90s new metal, like almost underground, but again, because of the electronic elements, it still sounds great. It doesn't sound as if someone should have mixed it. It makes you feel present with the band. In my humble opinion, a lot of rock and metal albums are overproduced today, and production is a great thing. Now, once you start overglossing guitars, I feel like it loses a human element to it. Code Orange brings it back with this. Other bands need to take note of what it means to have a very well produced album that still has some dirty, live sounding guitars in it. So what is the theater of cruelty? Jamie actually describes it as being your mind. So it's very, very dark, but talking about how your mind can play tricks on you, how if you're moving in one direction, oftentimes your mind might start wandering off in other directions, or bringing self-doubt or any doubts, or trying to solve problems that don't exist. The song puts you in this theater. It is a very visual representation of how the mind can work against you, and your mind can be a cruel place. There's a ton of variety in this song. So we've said the verses are more dreamy, the choruses are intense, but even song structure wise, this isn't just one or the other. After one of the choruses, you'll actually notice there's a post-chorus section that doesn't quite fit. You're like, you don't really know what's going on. It's not really a verse, it's not a bridge. It is Code Orange experimenting with song structure, and it works really well. It features some heavy vocal deliveries from Jamie, adds to the drama of the overall song. And as much as I love the dreamy parts, it's really that heavy riff, that like dun dun dun. The dreamy parts of the song make the heavier moments sound even heavier. I love transitions from slow and quiet to heavy, fast, and brutal. Like it or not, Theater of Cruelty represents Code Orange achieving all the goals they set to achieve on the above. I will be honest with you, I have never been a huge Code Orange fan. I've always thought that all 6 members are insanely talented. I felt like they haven't really come up with an identity yet, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. They make awesome music, just a lot of it hasn't resonated with me. The Above is like my Black Album for them. I think it is phenomenal. There's so much variety on this album. The electronics are pushed more in the back. You have guitars that are a little more in your face and raw sounding, like I mentioned, which is right up my alley. The vocal harmonies between Jamie and Reba are ridiculous. There's a lot to love in this album. Yeah, it's long, 14 songs. Not every song is a hit. They do a great job of mixing variety with overall keeping a consistent theme. There are happier moments, there are dark moments, there are moments of anger, there are tense buildups, there are climaxes. This album really has it all. Sonically, it's one of the best produced albums I have ever heard, and that includes purposefully lack of production on guitars, still mixed with these awesome industrial elements. And for that reason, The Above gets an 8.8 out of 10. It is much better than the album underneath. This is a step in a great direction. I hope the band continues exploring into this route and into who knows what is next for them. They are just so gifted as writers, as musicians, that they always keep you on your toes, and this is one of the most enjoyable and unique releases of 2023. They're one of the hottest bands around right now, and I'm curious to see what people think of this new direction for the band. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Rock Metal Fan Nation is brand new on YouTube, so everything you do means a lot to us. I will see you next time for episode 10.